In his post-game press conference, Jake Browning said that he had to be delusional to think that he could lead his Bengals on a game-winning fourth-quarter comeback drive, despite having thrown 3 interceptions in, let's call it, the previous 2.5 quarters. Delusion. Holding beliefs about an external reality when there's overwhelming evidence to the contrary. But then again, there's redemption. On Sunday, Carson Wentz is going to be the first quarterback in NFL history to start for 6 different teams in a 6-year span. Oh, and by the way, he hasn't started multiple games since 2022. But then again, he is at the place where Sam Darnold was able to resurrect his career. So which one is it? Delusion or redemption? But what's fascinating is that question can be applied all over in this football game. Let's start with stopping the run. Last year, the Minnesota Vikings, top 5 in the league. This year, sitting at 30th. But then they're going against the 32nd ranked team in rushing right now in the Cincinnati Bengals. How about interceptions? Last year, 24, led the league by 5. This year, 0. But then they're going against Jake Browning, who threw 3 picks in about 2.5 quarters. What about third down conversions? Right now, the Cincinnati Bengal defense is allowing third down conversions at a 51.7% clip. That's 30th in the league. However, the Minnesota Vikings are only converting at a 30.4% rate, which is good enough for 29th. Then they're sacking the quarterback. The Cincinnati Bengals have 3 total sacks this year, puts them at 25th. But the Minnesota Vikings have allowed 9 in the last 2 games, which is second worst in the NFL. This delusion, redemption is everywhere in this football game, but the quarterback is the most important person on the field. So let's take a look at the film and find out if is this going to be a delusional game for Jake Browning, or is it going to be a redemption game for Carson Wentz? Before we get any further, if you like this kind of content, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. I appreciate it. If you want to just see the Carson Wentz material, go a couple chapters down. It'll all be laid out. But we are going to start here with Jake Browning. One of the most interesting things I've heard out of Cincinnati fans is how they feel that Jake Browning runs this Zach Taylor offense better than Joe Burrow. At least they feel that. And there are some numbers that back it up if you look back in 2023. But this is a transition in a game, and a couple of things happen. First of all, the offense gets simple. And conversely, the Jacksonville defense gets simple. And I'm going to show you this all right here. And this first play really exemplifies that. Browning just gets into the game. What are they going to do? They're going to line things up, quick throw, get it to their playmaker in space. And that's exactly what they do. You get 3 receivers down here at the bottom, maybe a tight end, running back offset this way, fake the run, and now you have the ball in the hands of Jamar Chase, the playmaker. The problem that Jacksonville has is that these 2 receivers are able to wipe out these 2 defenders. And once Jamar Chase gets ahead of steam, look out, broken tackle. Now he's free down the sidelines. And that is an absolute win-win because your brand new quarterback just made a big completion on a really simple throw. So Browning just hit the quick out. Well, let's get him across the line of scrimmage this time. And what we're seeing here, these plays, these routes are as old as time. And the other thing that you're noticing is that Jacksonville isn't disguising. Anybody knows that this is some type of cover 2, maybe a cloud down here, maybe this corner is playing quarters, but absolutely no disguise. This Mike linebacker being deep makes you think that it's cover 2. But watch this. Very, very simple. Again, on the bottom, you've got an in and out, and then up top, you got a double slant, and again, hit the ball to one of his best receivers. This is just football 101. You're getting a slant here. You're getting another slant right outside of it. And then down here on the bottom, you're basically just getting an in and then something to the flat. Unbelievably easy to read, but Browning does a really good job here of just waiting for the receiver to come open, a little jam, some space, hits them in stride, and they're able to almost get the first down. So simple offense, simple defense. All right, so this is where we start hitting some bumps in the road. Okay, Browning, you start this play out. You have the running back outside of the wide receiver. Why do you do that? To see who walks out there. Is it a safety? Is it a linebacker? And it's more likely man. So Browning brings him back into the backfield. You just get bumps across the board. But again, prior to this snap, a pretty simple look. Looks like middle open. They're not disguising a ton. However, this does, I think, turn out to be a 3-deep coverage. Browning throws his first interception here, but I don't think this is all his fault. As he gets to the top of his drop, he's getting hit. Now, he's trying to hit that deep crosser, but is unable to do so. So the concept here is you're going to take this outside receiver and you should clear this area. You're going to take this receiver down here and most likely run a post or something deep down to try to occupy the middle safety. And then the slot receiver, Vikings do this all the time. It's up the field and then over, and you're going to try to hit this area that's been evacuated by the corner. It makes the flat defender over here have to get to this spot. The problem that the Bengals have, let's talk about the route first, is that you've got this route crossing over, but Chase hasn't cleared the zone. He stops for some reason, and that puts a lot of bodies in a small area. Browning throws the football, overthrows it, and then it's intercepted. However, we need to take a look at the end zone to see what is happening up front. And what's ironic is that Browning's passer rating versus the blitz was fantastic in this game. It was against the 4-man rush where he struggled, but the theme is pressure. You got to get pressure on Browning to get him to throw the football. And all Jacksonville is doing here is pretty simple. You're going to get up by this three. They have three linemen on this side of the center. So that's a little bit different. You're going to get up the field, and then this outside defender will loop underneath. And he's just reading this A gap. If the center turns his way, then he brings it all the way over here. If this inside gap is open, he takes that one. So you get the motion. Once you get the snap, you'll see 2D lineman up the field. He's trying to pick this tackle, and this guy's going to loop underneath. The center's already turned all the way over there, goes too far. Now Browning's trying to make this throw for this receiver coming across the field, but he has a defender in his face, and he just lets this thing go. You can tell he's trying to hit this on the crossing route. For some reason, the receiver stops, overthrows it, and it's basically a gimme type interception, the first of 3 that Browning threw this day. So now Jacksonville believes they got to get somebody in Browning's face in order to make something happen. So on this next snap, they are going to get after it. They're going to zone blitz, meaning they're going to slant and bring these linemen down, and then they're going to blitz a nickel and then a linebacker through this gap, hopefully outnumbering whomever they have in the backfield. On the back end, however, things look a little different. This is going to be a 3-under, 3-deep type of a play, but you'll notice here on the bottom of your screen, when Browning is getting to his release point, this corner is like in a cloud look. You have kind of a half safety over the top and then a hook defender. That leaves this area right here wide open. A great 7 route, but really a great throw by Browning to hit Chase right there by the sideline. So good job identifying it, good job getting rid of it, and then putting the ball exactly where it needs to go. So that's a very, very good play by Browning. What became evident in this game is when Jacksonville stopped disguising and just kind of showed their hand or tipped their cap, if you will, then the Bengals and Browning just really tore them apart. So you're getting a motion here, and you're going to end up in 2x2, which the route you're going to get is one that's been around for a very, very long time. It's pretty simple. You're going to get a little curl and then a go route up top, but on the bottom, you're getting what they call a spin dig combination, which means 2 receivers stacked up. One of them is going to run the hitch right here, and then the other one is going to run a dig in behind it. Now, the goal in this case is to put this defender in a no-win situation. If he jumps the short route, this dig is going to be wide open. If he stays on this dig, then you can hit this route. Now, to defend it, number one, the safety's got to drive, but number two, this corner, once he sees this receiver go in. He can't run a 7 route. He's got to squeeze this as quickly as possible. You look at Browning, he's already getting ready to throw the football. And again, you're hitting a receiver with all this space, way too much space to be able to run, able to get the first down, keep churning with the legs. But overall, Jacksonville quit disguising. And when you do, then Browning just started picking them apart. So this is where you start seeing some of the arm talent that Jake Browning has. And they're giving him, again, a kind of a simple read right here at the mesh point. He can either hand this ball off depending on the number of defenders in the box. But if he gets a one-on-one out here, now he could take advantage of this entire lane in the back of the end zone. So you could either hand it off or throw it deep. Now, this is Tinsley at wide receiver. This young man has never had a pass attempt go his way in his entire career. So this is the first time he was ever even targeted. But look at this throw. Right over the shoulder. What a great catch for the touchdown. And draws the flag as well. I mean, just an unbelievable play. But when Browning sees one-on-one, he's not afraid to get aggressive. Well, now Jacksonville is disguising. They're making this look like a middle closed type scenario, but in reality, it ends up being covered 2. And again, for Zach Taylor, this is a very similar concept to what we saw earlier with the spin dig. All you're getting on a play like this is a quick out by a receiver, a quick curl by a receiver, and then this slot is going to just find the hole in cover 2. Basically, again, what they're doing is they're putting this guy in a bind. He can't be right. Okay, he just can't be right. So watch this. Browning gets to the top of his drop. This receiver is running and out. If he leaves it to take this dig, then he hits the out route. If this guy jumps the out route, then this dig is wide open. This safety's too deep, and this deep middle defender is just too far away. And what really, for Browning, this is easy. Watch this. There's just a huge area right here, a big hole in this cover 2 defense, and he finds it easily, makes a great throw and a great catch, and it's another first down for Cincinnati. Now Jacksonville starts to throw the proverbial playbook at him. In this case, you're going to see at this moment, this could be zero blitz right here. You've got enough Jacksonville defenders here to fill up every single gap, right? Maybe go zero. Maybe this guy's got the tight end. Who knows? Cincinnati decides we're going to take this running back, step him up for protection. But this is not what Browning is going to get. He's going to get a 4-man rush with a 3 deep coverage behind it. Now, this ends up being an incredible play by Wingard, the guy who ends up having a flat up here. But a lot is going on, especially in a coverage standpoint. When Browning gets to the top of his drop, there's really nothing open. You have a corner up on top. He's playing deep third, but he's really getting after this receiver, the flat defender, dropping underneath him. What would normally, this safety would normally be in the middle of the field playing center field, but because of Jamar Chase, he's worked himself all the way over to the side, which leaves an area over here wide open. But watch the play by this flat defender. So Browning can't get rid of the football. Now he starts to scramble. Again, flat defender right here. What ends up looking good is this over route by this tight end or receiver here. Watch the reaction right now of this guy. He knows Browning's being rushed. He sees this area, and then he makes a beeline right underneath the football, and boom, what an interception. Just an outstanding play in a 3 deep coverage by a flat defender. And for Browning, yeah, his numbers were great against the blitz, but that looked like a blitz and ended up being a 4-man rush. So the bottom line is this: get pressure on him somehow, get somebody in his face, and he'll make some mistakes. This next play might be the finest Jake Browning made all day long. Now, Jacksonville had just scored a touchdown. They're up 24-17. Bengals are around midfield, and let's take a look at what Browning sees. So just before the snap, again, Jacksonville putting a bunch of guys at the line of scrimmage. But what matters here is where this corner is. He's pressed up. This corner's pressed up. Deep middle safety. What a quarterback now sees is this wide open area on this part of the field. All he's got to do is have one receiver win one-on-one. And here we go. So here it is. 1, 2, 3 plant. Now look at this. Higgins beat his guy off the line of scrimmage. Browning's good enough to find this. Browning is good enough to put a football anywhere 20, 30 yards down the field to the receiver if he beats his guy one-on-one. Watch where this ball placement is. Higgins looks back. Boom, he catches it before the free safety can get there and before the corner can get on top. What happens? These two guys collide like Keystone Cops, and then T. Higgins goes in to tie the football game. So what a great answer to a blitz in that case, or a blitz look. And again, that's what Browning did all day long. When he was under pressure, right? He made some mistakes, but when he sees one-on-one on the outside, he's making big plays. That's why his passer rating against the blitz is so high. After that big touchdown by Higgins, Jacksonville was able to take the ball down, score a field goal. So Cincinnati right now is down 27-24. And this really should have been the nail in the coffin. Okay, Cincinnati trying to drive, tie up the game, go ahead. They go back to what? This stacked look on one side. Earlier we saw it was a quick hitch with the dig and behind it, the spin dig. But they're getting 3 deep this time, and it's going to unfold a little differently. So up top, you have the quick in route by this receiver. This guy's running a clearing route, and what they're trying to do now is drag this tight end, this receiver, from the backside all the way across. Okay, this is the area that they're trying to get to. Browning's already thrown that football. What he doesn't see is this guy right here, this backside linebacker who really had no route taking him out of his drop. So Browning should have known that he was there, able to step up, make an incredible interception, and bring this football down all the way to Cincinnati's 13-yard line. The craziest part about this whole thing is that Jacksonville wasn't able to score. They went for it. They eventually became 4th and 5 from the 7-yard line. They don't get it. And then that allows Browning to do the delusional 15-play, 92-yard drive that takes up 3 minutes and 24 seconds. So for the Vikings defense, ultimately getting pressure on Browning is what's important. You have to be careful not to show it. If you show press, he's going to try to hit the fade. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, so good. Find a way to get this kid off his rhythm. Now, let's get to the other half of the equation and the redemption side. Now, for Carson Wentz, there wasn't a lot in the way of film for last year. And basically, I had to dig up this Week 18 meaningless game by Kansas City against the Denver Broncos. But we're going to see, is his arm still strong physically? Is he still able to hold up? Now, on this first play, Denver is giving him a funky look, but they're eventually going to play a drop. As you can see, this big defensive lineman dropping here, but this is just Tampa 2, okay? And Wentz already getting pressure. With a 3-man rush getting pressure, is going to get flushed out to his left. Now, this route kind of breaks down, and you end up having one receiver streaking across the field here and another here. Wentz is about ready to get blown up here. So he is just going to uncork this thing. And I think it was intended for this receiver, but ends up being caught by the guy behind him. But still, a very, very good throw. All right, this next play gives me a lot of hope for the arm strength that he has left. And Denver, in this case, is playing what you really call, it's like a lurk coverage. You're playing man-to-man. You're going to have a free defender underneath one of these two linebackers and then a free safety in the middle of the field. And as this play develops and we get to right about here, this is the guy that's in trouble, okay? He needs to stay outside shade on this slot receiver, because if this receiver decides to go anywhere toward the middle of the field, he has some help with this free safety, but does a great job of bending this route in to get this DB to jump him, and then he's going to give him the ole and then get to the flat. Now he's open. But look at Wentz. He's already throwing this football, and watch the timing and accuracy of this throw. On time, on the money, receiver's able to catch it in stride and turn it upfield. So I think that bodes well for the arm strength of Carson Wentz. Now we get to the film that I'm sure has Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings excited. This is from 2 seasons ago when Wentz spent some time with the Rams. Here he's playing San Francisco. This play, you'll start recognizing some of these formations and some of these plays because it's a lot of what the Vikings would run. In this case, you're going to see Wentz being smart, really. He knows he's getting a blitz down here in the bottom of your screen, going to call in the tight end, completely change the formation, and then knowing he's got pressure coming from here in the bottom, what he's going to turn his focus to is this guy, who's the flat defender up top. Okay, ball snap, gets to the top of his drop. These two have to cover this in and out by these 2 wide receivers in one way or another. But because that this linebacker right here has his vision turned outward, he knows that this route is going to break open. He's already starting to throw his football. Easy, simple read, great throw, right on the numbers, almost a first down. All right, so a lot to unpack on this play. The Rams start with 3 receivers down at the bottom. They're going to motion the wide receiver across, but it's the response of San Francisco that matters. If they were going to stay middle open, this safety would stay up top. Instead, they're squirming, meaning this safety is coming down to this 2x2 set, and this other safety is going to replace him. So this is some form of 3 deep, okay? So he takes a snap, sees the squirm, gets to the top of his drop, and right here at this point, he sees this. This is the flat defender, and he and the tight end know, if I can't hit the out route, you can fake the out route, and then he just spins around, sets it up. Wentz is throwing this football, and he gets it in between. This is technically the flat defender, and this is the hook defender, but a really, really tight window. Great throw, moves the chains. So the pre-snap read and then the arm strength and accuracy were there. The knowledge that Carson Wentz has and his ability to read, especially pre and post snap, we need it. The offense in the passing game needs some juice, and I think Wentz might be able to provide that. So what's going on this play? Things are a little bit different. If you notice, you have middle open, but then this nickel is really rolled up to jam this slot receiver. Why? Well, because San Francisco is playing some form of man-to-man. Now, once this play develops and you get to right here, Carson Wentz knows exactly what he's going to do. This corner is jumping this outside route. And because of that, he knows it's not a 3 deep where this corner will fade back. He's jumping. He's getting out of the way. That leaves this whole section of the field up here wide open. Wentz is already getting ready to throw this football. He knows that alley is going to be there. Watch this throw. Right on time, right on the money. A beautiful touchdown throw by Carson Wentz. Then again, it was 2 seasons ago. Can he keep this up? Can he get back to what he did just a few years ago? Another example of just a great read by Wentz. A little bit of motion before the ball snap. You can see what the defense is showing him, right? Some type of middle open. Is it cover 2? Is it quarters? We will see. What the Rams are going to do is run this receiver up and then out right at this cornerback and run the outside receiver on a fade. If this corner settles, he hits the go. If it's quarters and that corner vacates, then he's going to hit the out route by the slot receiver. But watch this. When Wentz demands a snap, he gets to the top. He's starting to throw this football right now. He knows because of how this corner is settling. His eyes are inside. He's looking for this out route. Not quite sure what the safety's doing. If you're playing a cover 2 look, you should be outside of the slot receiver. In this case, this looks more like quarters where he's inside. So really, it's on him to be in the wrong spot. But look at this throw. Right on time, just before the safety can get there. Great job by Carson Wentz to play this simple game of just reading the corner, where his eyes are, and then going opposite. How about in the red zone? Well, this is one heck of a throw in this game. I mean, he continually puts the ball right on the money. In this case, you've got an empty formation out, and then this is going to turn into a 7 route out here. Now, this defensive back is in a perfect outside shoulder position, meaning anything that goes outside, he can stay underneath. If this receiver breaks to the post, you have a free safety up on top. Watch where Wentz puts this football, right at the back shoulder. Okay, at this point, this receiver's covered. Outside shoulder right here by this DB, he's really not open. You may be able, he's too close to the back of the end zone to fade it over the shoulder. So what does he do? Throws it back shoulder, receiver with eyes, comes back, catches it. I mean, that's a heck of a throw on a receiver who's pretty much covered up. So hopefully we'll see some of this out of Carson Wentz on Sunday. One of the things you're going to notice is Wentz is probably at his best when he's got the offense spread out. And we haven't really done much of that lately. So this could be an entirely different look by the Vikings offense with Carson Wentz at the helm. This is just another really smart throw, but more of a pistol look, meaning Wentz is going to get this snap and then make a decision very, very quickly. So he takes the snap. He's getting man-to-man underneath, and right now this tight end set this linebacker up beautifully. Throw in the middle of the field, quick throw, quick catch, easy 20-some yards. The spread offense might just be something that the Bengals haven't seen in a while and that Carson Wentz can execute. Finally, San Francisco's had enough. They're going to say, we're just going to blitz the old man, put pressure on him. The problem is, if you're going to blitz him, you better get there. Okay? So in this case, you have a zone dog with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 49ers trying to get to the quarterback. Now, they keep a couple extra guys in for protection, but what's building up, you get to the top of, as Wentz gets to the top of his drop, everything looks to be pretty covered. They've got underneath for the outlet there, outlet here, 2 DBs on this receiver, 2 DBs on this receiver. But what happens is Wentz keeps his eyes open, and what does he see? This middle of the field is absolutely wide open, and he's got this receiver streaking inside. So he's being patient. Pocket is holding up. You got to be able to protect him, right? Pump fake, and then lets one go. It's like a laser beam right there on time. Move the chains on a 3rd down, get the first. The blitz just doesn't work out for San Francisco. So for Carson Wentz, the first thing is, does he still have the arm strength? And does he still have the accuracy? It's been a while since he's played. The second thing is, how well has he learned this offense in the few weeks that he's been in Minnesota? If this is the case, if they were able to teach him enough, I think we might have a chance to see a much more spread out, a much more air attack worthy style of offense. I mean, Kevin O'Connell has cut down on the pass attempts over the last couple weeks. I don't think that can continue. I think if he feels good enough about Carson Wentz, we might be slinging this ball around the yard on Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals.